Hi, chosen ones. It's snowing outside. It's cold outside. I can't believe that it is snowing here in Mississippi, of all places. How's the weather where you are? Let me know in the comments below. I want to say hello to the new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel and watching my videos. If you have not subscribed, I would like to take this opportunity to ask you to please subscribe, turn on your notifications, and also like this video. So today I want to talk about what you possibly have in common with the narcissist. Believe it or not, you guys probably share some type of common childhood wound or childhood trauma that may be what has attracted you to each other to begin with. Like the weather behind me, the narcissist childhood and your childhood probably had some kind of cold season, probably had somewhat of a winter wonderland that you guys had to navigate through the pain, through the trauma to find yourself again. And most likely it was a mother wound. At least it was for me and my ex-narcissist. We had a mother wound in common. So although both of us had a winter experience, one child went to the left while the other child went to the right. One child decided to walk towards the light while the other child set their sights on the darkness. Everyone has their different ways that they cope with things. Some people hold stuff in and repress it, and some people act out. So here are some of the signs that you may have a mother wound. Your mom wasn't there for you on an emotional level. You are reluctant to ask your mom for comfort or security. You doubted that you had your mother's approval. You felt like you had to be perfect. You felt nervous or frightened around your mom. And your mother expected you to take care of her physically and emotionally. I would say the mother wound that I probably share with my ex-narcissist husband is probably one of abandonment. Feeling like a parent wasn't there when they needed the parent to be. The parent wasn't emotionally available. The parent was neglectful in some way. We weren't able to get some basic part of our need met that was essential to our emotional well-being. A lot of times when you don't get a basic need met, it makes you look for validation in other things. So I noticed for me in my childhood, I would look for validation from getting good grades in school, doing all my chores, just so working extra hard around the house, even getting a job at an early age to try to help out with bills and things like that in the house. So lots of basically working for love. I think in the narcissist case, he started to be attention seeking as a child, so he would kind of like act out and misbehave and get validation, that way. I think that both the empathic child and a narcissistic child will do something called repression. So they will kind of hold in their feelings and internalize things and feel like the reason why they're not getting what they need is because it's their fault in some way. But the repression will work its way out in different ways between the two children. I think the empathic child leans more towards sadness, and then the narcissistic child would lean more towards anger. So for me, when I held things in, I definitely got super sad and super depressed, and I would work that repression out through writing and art. So I kind of threw myself in and focused on getting my feelings out on paper by writing poetry. And I will also throw myself into art projects until I was extremely exhausted. So I definitely went internal And I think the narcissist went more so external. And I think that he started to look for validation from other people. So he started to get into girls at an earlier age and things like that. Started to get into, you know, nasty videos and stuff like that at an early age. Also, with the anger, started to get into fights and things like that, altercations with both children and adults. I think the mother wound also leads to other behaviors such as self isolation. It can also lead to withdrawing from the public, not wanting to be in crowds, and that sort of thing. I know for me, I definitely became a recluse and pretty much a hermit. Didn't really like to go out anywhere, wanted to stay at home all the time. And for the narcissist, it was complete opposite. Wanted to be in the streets all the time and started to get into, some adult behaviors pretty early. So started to drink really early and started to go and gamble at a pretty young age also. And as far as interacting physically with someone else, so for me, my mother wound was also that I didn't get affection. I didn't get hugs and kisses. I didn't get told I love you, you're beautiful, things like that. So it kind of made me shy away from people. And, you know, I didn't want people, you know, to touch me. I didn't want to have anything physical with any other person, um, because there was a trust issue there. So I didn't really trust people. And so therefore, I felt like if I can't trust you, I can't get close to you. And so for the narcissist, it was opposite. He couldn't really get what he was looking for from, you know, maternal and at home. Then he would go seeking physical validation from, you know, girls and stuff like that. So starting to get into physically touching people, girls, early, at an early age. So it's pretty much like I said, two different ends of the spectrum. Both are extreme. Both children are going to the extreme end of the spectrum, but it's just in a different way. One child is going towards this extreme withdrawing and going within, and then the other child is more so pretty much, for lack of a better word, going buck wild. One child is seeking shelter, and the other child is seeking freedom, some sort of escape. So when I met the narcissist, that pull that I felt towards him, I assumed that it was chemistry. I assumed what I called it electricity, that initial attraction. And I didn't really know or understand that it was that childhood wound that was kind of connecting us together and causing us to kind of come towards each other. So the mother wound causes three major problems for both the narcissist and the empath. So the mother wound leads to feelings of inadequacy, low self-esteem, and it also gives difficulty for forming relationships. So as far as the dynamic between myself and the narcissist, I do believe that he saw me as his enemy. He saw me as a punching bag. Um, the anger and the frustration that he felt towards his mom, he definitely directed it towards me. And he took all of that anger and frustration out on me, both verbally and also physically. And for me, since I already had an emotionally unavailable parent, that was the only dynamic that I actually knew. And so I chose someone who was also emotionally unavailable. And I continued to work and work and work towards getting affection that I would never receive. So for me as an empathic soul, it's pretty much got to the point to where whatever he would give me, I would, accept as love, even though deep down inside I knew that it wasn't. So talking to me harshly, being physically rough or forceful with me, I began to accept those things as love and even confuse physical touch with love. So the narcissist would love bomb me and overdose me with physical touch, something that I never got as a child. And so I began to confuse that with actual love. And then with me showing genuine love towards the narcissist, genuine love and care and concern towards him, he was angry about that because he didn't want it from me. He wanted it from his mom. And me giving it to him just only reminded him that he didn't get it from his mom and that he still couldn't get it, what he was looking for, from the source that he was looking for it from. And I think that there was a part of him who felt like he didn't deserve, you know, the type of love, the type of care and concern that I was giving him. And I think we both felt that way. You know, when you go so long without getting a basic need, because, affection and, those kinds of things are basic needs, in my opinion. When you don't get those, you do start feeling like you're not deserving of them. I remember one time the narcissist said to me, nobody has ever allowed you to rest your head on their shoulders or their chest like I have. And I'm not really sure how he knew that, but that was absolutely correct. I didn't know that until I met him. And so, like I said, you can pick up on each other's childhood wound. The narcissist definitely knows what area you're hurting in. They absolutely know it. And they will milk that area for their own benefit. I also feel like getting spankings as a child, or what we call whoopings in the South, getting those, I think, kind of segue into just kind of accepting, abuse or being physically struck by my ex-husband. I think I just kind of accepted that as the norm. I was more tolerant and more accepting of it for that reason. And whoopings in the South were a lot different than spankings. Whoopings were very much like beatings, like, getting hit with objects. Like, wasn't just tree branches, it was, belts, belt buckles, extension cords, objects, broomsticks, even personally for myself, broomsticks and skillets. So I think for my case, that type of physical trauma was already trapped in my body before I even met the narcissist. And so it just gave way to more of it. So I think that the physical trauma that I experienced from the narcissist through, him being extremely rough and, violent, I think that only added to the soul tie. In the end, it makes it hard for you to let the person go because you have gone through such trauma with that person for years and years and years. And even though it is not a good thing, it's not a healthy thing, it's pretty much all you know. And so that is what kind of keeps you, connected to what's familiar. But soul tie, I think, is meant to be broken. I don't think you should try to hold on to that. It's not something good. It's not healthy. And it's not of God. And you need to break away from that. God will comfort us as a mother. Isaiah 66:13. As one whom his mother comforteth, so will I comfort you, and ye shall be comforted in Jerusalem. And here's a scripture that will address the mother wound itself. Psalms 147:3. He healeth the broken in heart, and he bindeth up their wounds. To all of God's children that are out there that may be dealing with a mother wound, just know that the Lord will definitely bind that wound. He's going to help you heal. He's going to bring restoration. He's going to shine his light on you. God loves you. Make sure that you continue to walk in his love, and make sure that you continue to walk in his light. and turn your face towards the marvelous light.